A very warm welcome to our thought for today. So as some of you may know, I have been battling with COVID since the end of April. I had no underlying health problems and was generally fit and healthy. But 186 days on, it's fair to say that I'm still struggling on a number of levels. So how to describe COVID? Well, it's like having an unwelcome guest that has moved in and refuses to move out. It's like being trapped in a never-ending game of snakes and ladders. When just as you think you've got the final square in sight, bang, you land on the big snake, and before you know it, you're back to the beginning, or so it feels. Now, a few weeks ago, I heard the new Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, talk about the phrase light at the end of the tunnel. And for anybody who may not have heard this before, it is a phrase we sometimes use to describe when a difficult period is nearing its end. So the notion of a tunnel got me thinking about the Standedge Tunnel, which is Britain's longest waterway tunnel at over 3 miles long, and it can take several hours to get through. But before you're allowed in the tunnel, every boater must adhere to a specific set of rules, some of which are these. No one can take a boat through the tunnel for somebody else. Each person has to embark on their own journey. Once a boat is in the tunnel, it can't reverse or turn round. It has no other option but to keep going. Protective gear must be worn at all times, including a hard hat and life jacket. Now, the tunnel is a very confined and dark space with many unusual and strange noises that can be distressing, especially to small children and animals. Closing internal doors is not sufficient to keep them safe or limit their distress. Instead, they ideally need someone to sit with them throughout the journey. And finally, every boat that goes through the tunnel must have an experienced chaperone to offer navigation advice and information until they come out on the other side. Now, the parallels to be drawn between COVID and the Standedge Tunnel, I think, are fairly clear. We've all been in the COVID tunnel for quite some time now, and if you're anything like me, you're just pig sick of hearing it on the news and just want it all to go away. But the reality is that COVID is with us, whether we like it or not. But instead of losing heart, let's remember that God is our chaperone, who will help us navigate our way through, I'm sorry to say, this crappy COVID tunnel. God is very much in the tunnel with us, rather than waiting for us at a safe distance on the other side. And so on the days when we're at our lowest, and when hope is looking a bit threadbare, let's remember that we can also be chaperones and light bearers to one another. A phone call just to check in and see how we're doing. An email to say thank you. A telephone call just to say we've been praying for you. A food bank with a big blue sign over the door, which reads welcome. I am in no doubt that we will come through this. But whilst we're still moving through this COVID tunnel and the light doesn't seem particularly visible, let's hold on to the words that Jesus said. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Amen.